Well, hi everybody, Matt Kliskowski here, and in this video we're going to take a look at my top 5 favorite filters slash effects for ON1 Photo 2018. I'd done this a while ago and I figured it was time for an update. My moods and tastes changed, as I'm sure yours do, so let's go ahead and dive right in here. No particular order. I'm going to go with number 1. Let's jump into effects. And by the way, I'm just going to assume every photo gets a little bit of develop treatment before I go in there. So, I'm not going to necessarily go through the full workflow editing process, but sometimes I do a lot here. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I jump straight to effects. Whole point is just remember there's a bigger process here, and you can even combine some of the filters I'm talking about here. So in that case, I opened up a little bit of the shadows. I'm going to go to my first filter, which is going to be under color enhancer. And for my sky, I'll usually come down here and click on the sky option. Every once in a while, I get those perfect crystal blue skies. They look awesome. But it doesn't always happen. And so a lot of times the skies are just a little bit muted and faded. And I find this to be a pretty good, consistent look. The sky preset on color enhancer does a nice job with the blues. You can see the before and the after just by clicking on that little dot there. And then just depending on the photo, and it's going to change for everything. If I've got a photo that's got a lot of, sky and even some warmer sunset or sunrise colors in it, I'll boost the saturation a little bit. And that'll actually do a nice job to give some more boost to the sky, but also to give a little bit of boost to the warms and all the yellows in the photo as well. So I might adjust that saturation. And then, of course, down here, you can come to the specific colors, and I can boost just the blue and make it brighter or darker if I need. But that's a really good one if I've got a lot of blue sky in the photo and I just want to give it a little bit of something extra. Again, that's before and that's after. Okay, let's move on to number 2. Number 2 would be an oldie but a goodie, and that would be dynamic contrast. I use dynamic contrast on quite a few things. You'll see here I go to more of a close-up photo here. And again, any develop settings I'd usually do first, and then jump over here to effects. Come down here to dynamic contrast, and usually natural is the place where I'll start. And it's tough. It kind of looks a little bit like sharpening. Is it like sharpening? Probably. I don't know. For me personally, I've never much worried about what a slider was called or an effect was called or anything like that. I go by what I see. Okay. And for what I see is it makes it look like it's got more detail. It does add some contrast to the photo, but it also makes it look like it's got some more detail to it. And what I like about this versus what sharpening doesn't really offer me is I can go to small, I can go to medium, which I don't really want medium here. Medium gets too halo-y. It's just the brights get really bright. You can see it gets almost too contrasty and grungy. So I actually like the small for this one. And then large, you can see, kind of does the same thing. It looks a little bit, it starts to get too artificial. So I'll, of course, pull those back. If I hit the backslash key, that's before and that's after. Okay. So that's dynamic contrast. That's one example here. I'll go over to, I can go look at another example for you. We can come over here to a photo like this that, again, it's got a lot of detail in it. And that's generally where I'm going to spend my time with dynamic contrast. In this case, I could open up the shadows here. I would probably do that outside of the filter and do that in the develop module, but same slider, same result there. Now, as I look at the details here, again, to me, a lot of small details, especially back there. But I'd experiment. Small, medium, large are going to be kind of relative based on the photo. I'd love to say clouds are always large, but if you've got a lot of small, detailed clouds in the photo and it's a super wide angle lens, then clouds might end up in that medium or small range. So the best thing you can do, kind of experiment with them. I can tell you more times than not, I will end up adjusting the small and the medium than I will the large. Unless I have some big puffy clouds in the sky, then sometimes I'll jump down here to the large version. Okay. All right. Let's move on to filter number 3, and that would be glow. And I don't think I included glow on some of my previous ones here, but glow is an effect that I've been using a lot lately, and I probably a year and a half, 2-3 years ago, I really didn't use it much. So same thing here. We'll go over here to develop, and I'll kind of boost my shadows a little bit. Then I'll head over to effects. And even though there's a glow in develop, I still prefer to separate my creative from my technical edits. So I'll go over here to filters, go down there to glow, and there's a few that I'll go through. A lot of times I'll start at the top with angel glow. If I know that I want the photo darker, I'll go with something darker. If I know that I want it to be a little brighter, I'll go with something brighter. So, deep forest is a nice one for this. Definitely too much. So you can see it cranks up the amount slider. We're going to pull that way, way back there. And what I like about this is that it keeps the details. It just gives a softer feeling. And this is a very, very popular effect for this type of photo. All right, when you've got these dark, deep type of colors in the photo, you see a lot of glow on some of those photos. And I like what it does to water too. I like the whether it's long or short exposure water, I like how it gives the water almost a glowing type of a look as well. So amount is generally going to be, kind of how much of that glow does it get. Halo is going to be how much is the spread as you start to look at the water and the glow around that edge there. How much of that edge is going to get spread out from the side of there. So between the two, on a photo like this, I'm going to crank that up pretty high. Now, I'm going to follow up glow with number 4, which I would also add to this photo. All right, and that doesn't necessarily always go hand in hand, but I do add the sunshine filter quite a bit. So I'll actually go and follow it up here. We'll go down here to the sunshine filter. And under sunshine, I'll generally choose the actual sunshine preset that we have over here. And what you're going to see is it adds an overall kind of a glow to it. But what I'm really looking for is that it adds a warmth to it. And I can go down here to that warmth slider. So I'll follow that up with my glow filter, and I get a really nice look. I get that warm type of a look, but I also get that soft type of a glow to the photo. And you can even add some more glow down here to your sunshine filter, but for me personally, I would probably just add another filter and then go down here and add my glow on top of that. A little bit of halo, come down here, boost that warmth. If I hit the backslash key, you can see I get the before and then the after. All right, just a real nice look, and again, a very trendy look. You'll see that a lot on some darker, moodier type of landscape photos. You'll definitely see that glow look a lot out there. All right, moving on to number 5. Number 5, we'll head back over here. Number 5 is going to be the photo filter. And I use the photo filter quite a bit. You know what? Let me go back to number 4 because I got to show you another one here for sunshine. Let's go back over here to effects. I know some people are like, they'd redo their video, but nope. I'm just going to push forward. We'll go over here to sunshine. Another one I'll use, you see down here under sunshine, I'll use sun glow. All right. And you can see it made my whites almost even whiter in that case, right? And that might be something you want to go back over to develop and kind of adjust a little bit. Pull your highlights back down if you want them to be darker. I actually kind of like them a little bit brighter here. But again, I can come in here, boost that warmth, boost that glow, and then just switch between develop and effects and coming in here and boost those shadows a little bit as well. But again, that's the before and that's the after. The sunshine just gives it, when I'm lacking sunshine, it's actually a really nice filter to give the feeling of having a little bit of that warmer light in the photo. All right, number 5, back over here to the photo filter. I use photo filter a lot creatively. So let's jump over to effects. And exposure-wise, there's really nothing that I would have to do to this photo. I took the photo because it was a silhouette. So I would never ever want to go over and to develop and take my shadows and midtones and crank those up so I see all of the details there. The whole point of this photo was that it was a silhouette because that's the way that it looked. But what I do want some help with, and I use photo filter a lot for this stuff, is color toning and creative color toning. So we'll jump down here. I honestly use this when I want to see a lot of different examples. All right. So what's the right color temperature for this? It was probably a little bit more blue then it appears here. So I could of course click on blue, and that would be probably a little bit more true. Not, maybe a little bit warmer than that, but that's pretty darn close to the way that it looked here. Don't forget, you can click on that little grid icon up here next to photo filter. You can get a really large preview of all these. But to me, my favorite part about photo filter is the experimentation phase. It takes me down a color path that a lot of times I would have never seen before. So for example, I love the magenta look here. When I see twilight photos like this, they just grab me. Whether it's real or not real, whether your eyes saw that or not, I don't care. All I know is I love that look on my photos. Now, I might come in here and I might go over here to this color and I might pull back a little bit on the magenta side of things. You can always come in there and adjust that. But overall, I love that color treatment on a photo. So we can come in here, add a little bit of that polarization. It'll give you some contrast to it as well. So I love it from a color perspective. And then I also love it from the other filters that I can apply to it. So here, let's go over here to this photo. Go back over to effects and head over to our photo filter. And there's some really nice polarization ones. So warm polarizer is a nice one where you're going to get some saturation, but you're also going to get some warmth and you're going to get some contrast here. And that's really going to come from the polarizer setting inside of there. Now, it's not going to take a glary photo like we have in maybe a case like this where there's some glare on there. If there's some glare on the water, it's not going to take glare and remove it like a real polarizer might do in the field, but it gives you a really nice look to the photo. Again, it gives a nice warming, and then it also gives a nice amount of contrast to the photo. And if I can combine the two of those rather than going to a whole bunch of different filters to do it, even better. So I can come in here, increase that amount, and you can say just get a nice overall look. That's before, and that is after. All right, last thing. If you followed any of my videos before, you probably know that I am a sucker for a vignette on a photo. I put vignettes on everything. So we'll come over here to effects. I typically don't do my vignettes in develop. I like to keep my creative edits separate from my technical edits. So I'll typically do the vignette over here in effects. And yes, it is the same exact vignette, so it doesn't matter where you do it. And then my favorite one is always the big softy. I didn't include that. Think of that as like 5.5. I didn't include that because I figure it's kind of typical. If you've watched any ON1 video from me ever, you've probably seen me add a vignette in there. So I didn't want to include that one because I figure it's a gimme. The other thing that I'll tell you is that I did a video on a different way to do vignettes in ON1, so make sure you go check out the other videos there because there's some other ways that I do vignettes and you can get a lot of different looks from it, so definitely worth a try on that one. Well, folks, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I will talk to you again real soon.